Kenya's national budget has expanded consistently from 1.3 trillion shillings as at the end of financial year 2013-2014 to an estimated 2.8 trillion shillings in fiscal year 2019-2020, according to official figures from the National Treasury. The growth has not been in tandem with revenue, which has only expanded from 1 trillion shillings as at the end of financial year 2013-2014 to an estimated 1.6 trillion shillings in the current financial year. This has worsened the fiscal deficit, which has widened from 300 billion shillings in 2013-2014 to a projected 900 billion shillings, equivalent to 8% of GDP in fiscal year 2019-2020.
With 1.64 revenue target revision for the current year that is coming to an end, and then going into an even harder year, because remember there will be no summer travels this particular year. December festivities are likely to be disrupted. More people are likely to be laid off from their jobs. Then you expect that there is actually going to be lower declaration of tax, and companies are basically going to either lay off people or shut down their operations, and some have already done that. That has a ripple effect. It has a ripple effect on whether people will import cars or not. It has a ripple effect in how much people can consume, and therefore which has an effect on VAT. Yeah. And therefore I don't think that, my estimation on a good day is going to be about 1.4 trillion.
International Budget Partnership Country Director Abraham Muriu says Kenya's worsening fiscal space is eroding the country's credit rating, with the International Monetary Fund grading the country to high risk of debt distress due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Kenya's public debt level has increased in the last 5 years from 50.2% of GDP in 2015 to an estimated 61.7% of GDP in 2019, occasioning a yawning budget deficit projected at 7.3% of GDP in the current fiscal year.
We shouldn't wait until we are told we no longer can pay salaries for government officials, as is the current case in Pakistan. We shouldn't wait until we cannot even pay pensioners, as happened in Portugal and Greece. This is the time to have a hard conversation. And for me, in my opinion, I think it involves three large things. One is that we must rationalize our expenditure. There is still a lot of redundancy and double spending on things that we can basically rationalize and say we are not going to spend beyond this. Projects that have not started don't have to be started. We don't have to allocate money to the county government, allocate money for CDF, and they are all going to do the same things on the ground.
Muriu says Kenya's debt repayment program, which will cost the country almost 1 trillion shillings, can be delayed until the country realigns its fiscal structures. Public debt repayment will increase by 17.7% from 769 billion shillings in financial year 2019-2020 to 905 billion shillings in the current fiscal year, according to Treasury estimates.
5 days after the national budget was presented by CS for National Treasury Ukuri Yatani, it is now becoming evidently clear that this is a tough road ahead. Mobilizing resources at a time when revenue is tanking and growing the economy when economic activities have slumped, it is absolutely a tough assignment for Treasury Battalion. But time would see how they'll be able to pull this one out. From Nairobi, I'm O'Brien Kimani.